Hi guys, and welcome to yet another episode of Martin's Rhythm Method. This time we're going to be looking at how we play seventh chords, what a major seventh is, what a dominant seventh is, what a minor seventh is. Just in case you've maybe seen these but don't know what they are, or you've not come across them and you're interested in exploring your chord vocabulary. Okay, so I'm going to zoom the camera in so you can see the guitar fretboard a bit closer. Right, well, the most simple kind of seventh, in a sense, the one that you'll learn when you just see a chord like A7 when you were learning your basic open chords, it's actually called a dominant seventh, to give its full name. Okay, now the dominant seventh is a slightly strange chord in that it doesn't just use notes from the major scale. It's a major chord with a flattened seventh. You could look at the modes and realise that it's the chord that contains the first, third, fifth and seventh of the Mixolydian mode, which is the 5 chord based around the 5 in a scale, which is your dominant note in the scale, and that's why it's called a dominant seventh. Okay, and this is the seventh chord you would have learned first when you're playing your chords, your A7, E7, B7, whatever. If it doesn't specifically say major or minor, then it's a dominant seventh chord. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, going back to our E shape bar chord, so here we have a standard G major chord. It's a 3rd fret E shape bar chord. Now, to get to the 7th, what we want to do is take one of the 3 G notes, and in this case it'll be the one in the middle, the one I'm playing with my little finger, and drop that by 2 frets, 2 semitones, down to an F. Okay, and so we take off the little finger and just let the first finger bar handle that string, so that D string at the 3rd fret, which then takes us from to and that, in terms of resolution, it naturally wants to go from that to a C major. Okay, so and that's just how music works. Some chords naturally want to go to other chords. In that case, a G dominant seventh, G is the dominant in C major, so it wants to go to C major. Okay, and the same story in an A shape bar chord. Here we have a C major bar, and this time we're still taking off one of the C notes for a B flat, so we're taking off the note on the G string, again letting the bar do the work. So okay, so I can take that finger right away. I tend not to, because the more you pull it away, the more difficult it is to get it back up to play other things. So just lift it off the string and make sure that you're hearing that B flat note clearly on the G string. So, and the way with any of these chords, to make sure that you're getting the fingering right, is to slowly strum down the strings. Okay? And if you're hearing the 5 or the 4 or the 6, however many notes it is you're playing, you're hearing them all ring out clearly, then you've got your chord shape right. Okay, the next chord that we look at is the minor seventh. It's probably the next most popular kind of seventh chord. So a G minor bar chord is like the major chord, except we take off the 3rd, so it's got the B flat on the G string, and to go from that to the minor seventh, we do the same as we did before. We take off the little finger, so essentially we're only fretting one string other than with the bar. So this is a real test of your first finger strength. Okay, and then the A shape, there's your A minor shape bar chord. And to get to the minor seventh from that, we take off the little finger again on the G string. And you can do the same with A shape. And you can do the same with D shape chords, but it's a little bit more tricky just because of the way the fingers fall. You need to use your second finger to bar the two strings, or do a bit of rearranging your fingers. Okay, so the third most common type of seventh chord is the major seventh, and this is a slightly more jazzy feel. It's got tension in it because it's using the seventh note of the major scale in the chord, which is only a semitone down or 1 fret down from the root. So with our G major chord again, what we're doing is we're taking again the note on the D string and we're taking it down 1 semitone, so 1 fret. So you can't just pull it off this time. You need to rejig your fingers in some way. I find it easiest to play like this, with my little finger playing on the A string, my index. I find it easier to play like this, with my little finger on the A string, my middle finger on the D string, and my ring finger then on the G string, and it gives us this sort of nice lush. A nice lush sound with the tension there between the F sharp and the G. So and while your minor sevenths and your dominant seventh chords would work fine with overdrive, this one probably wouldn't unless you wanted a specific effect. Okay, so moving on to an A shape. What we're doing this time around is going from, and we're looking at the G string and again moving it down 1 fret. So again, bit of a finger switcheroo. Ring finger up 1 string to the D string, and then your middle finger can play the G string 1 fret down. And I really like major seventh chords. I think they work really nicely with the right clean sound or just slightly gritty sound. It's got a nice feel to it. Works really well with all kinds of music. Again, not something you want to maybe throw in all the time. Okay, just finally, very briefly, there is one other kind of seventh chord, and it's a really strange one. It's a major minor seventh chord, and the reason it's called that is because it's a minor chord, it's a minor seventh chord, but the seventh is the major seventh, which is weird. Okay, and that would sound something like this. Again, great for effects, maybe not great for our general use. You could analyse and work out how it would fit, but it's just this whole tritone thing that's going on, where we've got, in this case, we've got a D, we've got an F sharp, and we've got a B flat. And that's a really strange combination. And it's a really weird one to finger in the A shape. We finger it like this. And you've got, as you can hear, the tension there, where the note on the G string wants to resolve up a semitone. So from the B to the C. So it's almost a suspended chord like we looked at previously, but something that wants to resolve to a minor chord. And the tension is in the seventh, going to the root, rather than using the third to create the suspension, the tension, if you will. Okay, I hope that's been helpful. I'll see you next time.